welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia. I'm your host, Jacob Rust. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Black, and we are back and we're playing with Power on our 250th episode officially. I know we've had more than that, but this is officially the 250th episode. Ryan, how are you doing, man? It's like old times, right?
I am absolutely great, and I am excited to talk about this game, celebration of games that we had yesterday, and just bring our own list for this. You know, what we thought was our best this year, and just bring our best forward with this crazy 2021.
Yeah. It's just Ryan and I tonight. No Chris, no Josh. Again, we talked about last at our announcement episode that sometimes that'll be all of us. We're going to try to keep it down to 2 at a time, though. Overall, just because we think that's going to help make things flow better on our show. But man, it's been a long time. Really, I haven't been on an episode, and let alone hosting it, in months, if not years now at this point. But I'm excited. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into what we've been Radical Rexing about. Okay, Ryan. Well, why don't you go ahead and take the floor? What are you Radical Rexing about, man?
Yeah, I did touch a little bit on the Game Awards, kind of Radical Rexing about that, and we'll cover that. But aside from that, I've been enjoying just some casual playing time, jumping into some Nintendo stuff, playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Links. I've actually been playing the actual physical card game, and I went to the gaming lounge called Level Up in my area, and got to hang out and check that place out there. And they have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene there like 3 times a week, and I'm thinking about getting over there and playing again. They have this new archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's like sushi and like cargo ships, like mixed, so like sea ships and stuff. It's just kind of a funny build, and I've been experimenting with them because they're really they summon a lot really, really fast and draw a lot of cards, and it's just a fun little mechanic, and so I've been really appreciating that, and just getting into that, though. And I'm starting to get the itch to start getting into movies again and get caught up in the Marvelverse because I haven't touched it. I haven't. Oh my you guys are going to judge me so hard, but I seriously have not seen any Marvel movies since before Infinity War. I haven't seen anything after that point. It was just stop right there, and we haven't continued. I was supposed to watch them with Draco, and it just didn't happen. And so, I've just been just chomping at the bit. I basically just said, "Hey guys," to the NOS crew, just kidnap me for a day, and just sit me down, and we'll do a marathon of all those movies, and get me caught up. And I want to know so much, and I've got a few things spoiled here or there, but for the majority, nothing like major that wasn't the snap thing. I don't know exactly what that involves. I just hear that there's a big thing that happens when he snaps. I don't even know what that means, honestly. It's just it's crazy to hear. I am so out of touch when it comes to movies, and I need to get caught up. So
yeah, I'd say you're a little bit behind, but I guess you'll get there. You better hurry up. There's a lot that's happening, one after another, month after month. So much Marvel, and Spider-Man's just next week. Oh my gosh,
I'm looking forward to Matrix though.
Oh yeah, the Matrix cool, but honestly, I feel like it's kind of just going to be under the radar with the Spider-Man hype.
Yeah, it could be.
As sad as that is, because the Matrix franchise is so huge, but I mean, they're really kind of overshadowing each other right now. I mean, that was a bold move by WB to put it up against Spider-Man like that.
Definitely.
It's just not. It's not even just a Spider-Man movie. I mean, it's much bigger than that. So, but is that all you're Radical Rexing about?
It.
Cool. I'm glad you got to be playing some Yu-Gi-Oh too. I know Ryan's got some more loves in hobbies than just video games. I'd say you probably play board and card games maybe more than video games these days.
Pre-2020, definitely. But with 2020, I quit cold turkey other than playing Duel Links, which is digital. So it's kind of a video game and a cell phone game more than an actual card game. But, just starting to get back into that. Yeah. And I'd love to play board games again. I got a new board game for Thanksmas when we celebrated Thanksgiving and Christmas together with my in-laws. So I got a new Dominion set and found out there's actually 5 Dominion sets that I've missed since I stopped collecting them. So I've got a lot to catch up on.
Wow. Well, what have I been radical rexing about? Well, I was happy to wake up this morning to see that we finally have a release date for Banjo-Kazooie coming to the Nintendo Switch in January. I think it's surreal. I mean, I'm still in shock. Like, Nintendo tweeted it out this evening of America or today, and I'm just like, wow. Like, if I would have showed you that in 2012, no one would have ever believed me, ever. And they're tweeting about Nintendo Switch, Banjo-Kazooie being on it, and it's so cool. I mean, it's my favorite video game of all time. It really radically affected me as a kid when I played it. I have some of the biggest nostalgic memories for that game and that franchise. They came to Smash, and now their game is coming back, and I'm sure it's a matter of time before Banjo-Tooie comes back. Diddy Kong Racing, which Banjo's in. And then honestly, I won't be surprised if Xbox and Nintendo bring future games together to it. I really just wouldn't be surprised, because at this point I feel like anything is possible with that. I just do. Unless Nintendo stops the relationship, I think things will continue to come, which I think is awesome. Radical Rexing, I'm very blessed that I've been getting a lot of extra tip money at my work, so it's really helped provide for Christmas and all that. So, I'm just very thankful and blessed. So, outside of all that, though, really, that's what I've mainly been radical rexing about. I did jump back into Hollow Knight. I decided I wanted to take our artist Kyle Martin up on his challenge. He's like, we all have big backlogs that, we get like 50% or 75% of the way through a game and we just stop because something new came out. We got busy with life, so we just like, I'd rather play this for a bit, and then we don't go back to the old one. So I decided to do that. I started over completely because I really wasn't sure where I was or what I was doing, and then all of a sudden I got back right to where I was instantly. I was like, oh, I guess I wasn't that far into the game. So, yeah, I'm enjoying that. It's hard. What I have a hard time with these type of games is that I don't know if it's hard because I am sucking or if it's hard because I'm really not supposed to be here yet and I'm trying to do something that I need to come back for. Mm-hmm. I kind of find that frustrating, You even have that with Metroid. That's what a Metroidvania is. But, I haven't got to play it the past couple of days, but I have been playing it a lot more this week, and I'm enjoying it. I want to beat it. I really like to beat it, and Neo, World to Do Before Christmas, I would like to beat those.
I'm not holding you to that. It's got a lot of words, and it's more like a visual novel in a lot of ways, so it's a lot of reading, and so it's going to be hard for you to get through it, I know, but once the story hooks you, hooks you, you're going to be like invested, but it's going to take a little bit, so... But the gameplay is definitely worth it. I think equally the amount of story and words that you get, you're going to get the same amount of like gameplay and just having fun with the battle mechanics. So,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because Kyle Martin wants me to. He's been on my case about playing Eastward, and it's his game of the year. He's up and down all about it, and I'm just like, I've been forcing myself through it, but I don't like it nearly as much as him. I mean, I like it. I think some of the music is phenomenal. I think the art looks great, but there's a lot of talking, constant talking. I talk more than I actually play. And for me, as somebody who doesn't even like to read very much, that's a problem. So, but and maybe the story's not hooking me. Like you said, you're in Undertale, there's a lot of talking, but that story hooked me, and I loved to read the dialogue to understand more about what was happening, to get deeper into that story. So, I don't know, but yeah, that's what I've been radical rexing about in general. So, I think that just leads us to what we're all here for, guys. We had the Game Awards happen just last night, as of when we're recording this, and we are here to talk all about the Game Awards 2021.
So to kick us off, we've got a voicemail from Josh, and I'll go ahead and play that.
Hello, people. It is Josh. Sorry, I could not be there today for this recording, but I had a few things I wanted to drop, a few quick opinions in this little voicemail. So real quick, I guess at the Game Awards, it was very okay. Not great, especially as a Nintendo fan. I'm sure a lot of y'all have already seen that. It was a little slow. I will say my favorite moments of that show was the Sonic reveal. The second movie was great, and the new game, of course, interests me. Cuphead was cool. Outside of that, whatever. Anyhow, though, for some of my own picks, and I'm sure Jacob and Ryan, everybody will have their own. Some of these may be the same. And I guess just to read off, Blues is here. My favorite multiplayer game this year, Mario Party Superstars. Should have won the best family game this year. Don't know why It Takes Two is on there. Mature co-op, not going there. Anyway, great game. Best Mario Party in years. Needs more boards. Let's see. One of my favorite moments this year was the Sora reveal for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super cool way to finish the game off. Of course, I love Disney, Nintendo. Those are kind of my two entertainment loves. So that was fantastic. Let's see. Best fighting game. That was one. I really wanted Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl to win. It's really not a bad game. I understand why it didn't. But to get on to the last part, though, my runner-up for Game of the Year, I have to mention Monster Hunter Rise. New to that series. Ended up really loving that game. I hope I can get back into it enough for that DLC that's coming out. That looked really cool, too. But, of course, my personal Game of the Year is Metroid Dread. Possibly my favorite, new favorite, 2D Metroid. I've played all of that main series. Turned out really cool. I wish it lasted a little longer, but I also know that's kind of the nature of it. Definitely would recommend that one out. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to talk too fast. Anyhow, you guys have a great rest of your episode. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh, for calling. Yeah, Josh shared his thoughts. He shared his some of his categories of picks that he liked for the year from his opinion there. But yeah, Ryan and I are going to we want to take the first part here. We're going to talk about the Game Awards. So Ryan, what'd you think, buddy?
All right. For the Game Awards, I wrote down a list of games that I thought were pretty interesting. I'm not going to touch too much on it. If you saw the Game Awards, it's probably just review for you anyway, just to recall memories. But I think the first one that really hooked me that I saw at the Game Awards was Have a Nice Death. That just looked like a really fun, kind of hack and slash type game. It looked like it had difficulty, but the style was just dripping with color and style and explosions, and I really liked that. The presentation they did there really kind of hooked me. So, and then there was I didn't catch the name of it, but there was this game that was very much rooted in Indian culture, and they the characters would randomly change into traditional garb, and then change into regular clothing that we're used to, and it was a really cool flow of how things were working, and they were this girl versus their exes, and also disappointing their parents, and I really liked the idea of that game. I wish I could remember the name of it. I didn't write it down when I was making my list. I should have. So, but I wasn't sure if you wanted me to run down everything, read off my entire list, or if you wanted to kind of pause and go back and forth there. But do you want me to go ahead and continue?
Yeah, just continue about what you thought about the Game Awards, and I'll chime in, and we'll
sure.
Go from there.
I liked. I got excited for the little bits of pieces that I saw. Not necessarily Nintendo sizzle reel, but just Game Awards in general. Like the intro when they started the Game Awards, they did show off Metroid and a little bit of Neo: The World Ends With You with Sheepa at the end. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I think shout out to not necessarily gaming, but real stuff. The support line they had for online harassment was really cool. Just text support to 23368. And someone can help. You can report abuse and just people being really, really nasty to you online and trash talking you in a less than friendly way, or maybe using inappropriate language and stuff. And I just love that they have a hotline for that. Cool. It's really impactful.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
That was like straight up front. Like it kind of covered. It was they talked about how they weren't really going to comment on the whole issue that's going on with different companies, with Activision, Blizzard, and just other things that were in the industry that were a bit frowned upon. They weren't going to really make that a big deal, but they did offer a positive way to go about like reporting things. And I thought that was a really, really cool way of doing it. A lot of people got up in arms about hearing that they weren't going to talk about specifically that issue that's going on in the current media. But I think that kind of covered that right there. That spoke a lot to me. If nothing else came from that, there's something out there for people to reach out if they feel hurt or attacked or threatened. I thought that was just really, really cool. And then some of the bigger ones, I really liked Horizon 2. The look of it was a beautiful looking game. I liked the look of like all of the tech that they were using. It was just like, it was so much of an evolution even from the first one. And seeing how far they've come and the different like heads up displays and things and the menus and things that you could do like on the fly. It was really, really pretty. And I'm excited to see where that goes. I've not played all of Horizon or anything like that, but I've watched Draco play, and it's pretty impressive.
It came out this year?
Horizon 2 isn't out yet. Yeah, it's coming, but it's not even slated for this year.
That's right. Oh, I see. It was just a trailer.
Yep, it was a trailer.
I was going to say, like, why wasn't that up for game of the year?
It'll be next year for sure. If they release it next year, that is.
Zelda again.
But we'll see.
Then Zelda will beat it.
But, and then I had some Sonic love, like the shout out with the Sonic 2 trailer. That was awesome seeing Knuckles in action. And I think the thing that was the most like spot on and made me the happiest was just the voice of Tails. Just felt so right. It was really, really cool. Yeah. Like I was like, this it can't be anybody else. Like this is the perfect voice for Tails. Like thank you for bringing that. Bringing the original voice actor there. I really appreciated that, and showing off Sonic Frontiers, the Breath of the Wild treatment for Sonic games. And when I saw how pretty that game was, I was like, oh man, I'd love to play something that is just this beautiful. And I will say a weird note was the Jim Carrey video, where he kind of messaged in before they showed the trailer, and I was like, this is awkward, but that's usually Jim Carrey's humor. So, but that was just a weird kickoff, but he looked like he was going to do a stellar job in the new Sonic 2 trailer in that movie when it comes out. Another game that really caught me was Tchia, Tchia. I really like the look of that game and the mechanics and things like that. It would be something that I definitely want to try out sometime. And then just general, like I'm a big Matrix fan. And so I was really excited to get more Matrix content with the trailer and also, the tech demo that they showed. I don't have a system that'll actually play it, but I got to watch some of the gameplay footage and like some of the screenshots people are taking. It's insane. It's a showcase of Unreal Engine 5 and what it can do.
Yeah,
like, you get in a car wreck and like it looks unique and everything looks different and like it looks like it's real life. Like what it would look like in like a car or something like that. And then you like look in the background and you see people are all fuzzy and they don't quite look right still. But the wrecks and stuff were awesome. So it's like just to be really cool to see like where the technology goes with that realism. And it's at this point, it's how impressive the game engine is to make something more hyper realistic and believable. And that's further steps towards VR being more believable and going into VR worlds and having those immersion experiences, which is really cool to see. Just it's basically a milestone letting you know here's how far technologies has come with Unreal Engine, and it's really cool just to see those updates. And the fact that they're doing it with the Matrix medium is just spot on because I'm such a fan, So it's really cool.
I like the Matrix. I did not get to watch the Game Awards all the way through. I was kind of in and out. I was late to starting it, and then I had to go back and watch it after it ended to see it. This was busy, and I have to admit, I was not impressed. I thought the musical performances were stupid, not needed. I don't think they do justice to people with awards. They quick fire like 3 or 4 awards right away, and it's like, if this is really about the awards and really about these developers, give them some time to talk. But instead, it's about on to the next trailer, on to the next long trailer that we don't need to see, because it's all about money for the guy who puts it on. Jeff Keighley, is that how you say his name? I just don't feel like he's not really doing video games true justice right now. I feel like he wants to run his own mini E3, and it's crap. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't. I thought I wasted my time. And as a matter of fact, the past couple of years, granted outside of my divorce, I actually haven't watched it. I just didn't even think about it. And because I remember the last time before this one, I sat down, I was excited, I got home, I ate my dinner in my office, closed the door, and I started it from start to finish, and even had Jack in there with me in his high chair, and I was let down then, and I'm still let down. Nintendo has less and less of a presence every year too, it seems like. So there was no big announcements or reveals for Nintendo. Like, they don't care. They really just don't care. And so I thought the Sonic trailer was cool. I thought Tails, like you said, and Knuckles are spot on. I thought they looked great. I'm really excited. I haven't shown Riley. She loves Sonic. And so I don't have her right now. So when I do have her, I will show her, and I'm excited to see her reaction. I did show her the movie poster when I saw her last. And I thought that Sonic game looked really cool. Is it like an open world Sonic? Is that the vibes I'm getting?
That seems to be what they're kind of teasing. Is like a Sonic Adventure type feel, which would be really cool.
Interesting. I think would be freaking
Give us
awesome.
A playground to run around in, and like Breath of the Wild style. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle was like, "Oh, Sonic looks awful." I'm like, whatever, Kyle. You're weird. I don't think it's awful. I thought it looked really good. I liked the graphics. I thought it looked really pretty. And there were some games coming to Switch that I was surprised had a Switch logo on them, honestly. So that's cool. Always cool to see. But overall, the games, most of them, I'm like, I was talking to Lindsay because he was watching it with me. I'm like, look, it's another hyper graphic shooter. Mm-hmm. Great. It's the same stuff over and over again. Just like when you watch the Xbox E3, I've tried the past 3 times to watch it, hoping Banjo-Kazooie shows up, and it's the same recycled garbage. Shooters, realistic shooters, or some medieval sword fighting gore demon game. It's the same stuff. Or it's in outer space. Sorry, or it's a zombie game, but the current theme is gore, shooting, and hyper realistic, and I just don't understand it. I mean, and maybe it's the way I grew up, but most of the games I loved growing up was just a mix of stuff. I had some realistic looking games, I had more cartoony games, and more somewhere in between or unique art style games that I just love, And I don't know. I feel like Nintendo was. And the style that they bring was not really represented in Game Awards. I mean, heck, even the guy who won the Game Award, he won the Game of the Year. He didn't even get like a chance to speak because they had to get back on to advertising.
He had enough time to say a couple of curse words, but other than that, no.
Yeah, you're right. Ridiculous. Which is another thing.
That was the same guy.
That
was the same guy from previous years. I think it was 2017. He flipped off the camera. From what I understand, that was a developer. He did it back then, and so it doesn't surprise a lot of people that he dropped the F-bomb or what have you.
Interesting. I think it's kind of sad because I think video games are for everybody, not just adults, and I don't like how targeted this is to even not kids. Kids couldn't watch it because there's crap like that in it, and I don't like that. But I mean, Not everyone's going to agree with me. I know that. That's my opinion on it. Yeah, so I don't know. Some people think that this will be the last Game Awards they have.
No way.
I doubt it. I don't know why they would stop, especially when the dude just makes millions of dollars off of it. But I really wish it would get changed where someone would challenge it, like some other company would try to do it more of a justice.
I was
honestly
a little bit surprised to see Nintendo there, like Doug Bowser, actually being there amongst the crowd. Like, it was weird. I guess they had to have someone there to represent, take the award if they got something. But it's just kind of funny to see that when there wasn't a lot of representation for Nintendo there. It was cool seeing Reggie up there. He definitely doesn't feel like Nintendo anymore. In fact, he's being really careful to distance himself from that stuff, which I thought was kind of weird. But it's so cool to see Reggie. And then I don't know if you noticed, but in the crowd there was a guy wearing a Bowser Jr. Mask, like from Sunshine.
No, I didn't.
I thought that was funny. But it was really cool to see just a bunch of familiar faces in the crowd and even on the stage.
Yeah. Well, and then, let's talk about, Metroid. They did win an award, Best Action Adventure.
I celebrated.
Metroid Dread. I was very happy. I said, yes, Metroid won something. I was happy. I'm happy that it won something. I think that the game was fantastic. We had been on hiatus and have not been able to talk about that game, which Ryan and I very much intend to do an episode about Metroid Dread, because it's fantastic. And if you haven't played it, it needs to be on your Christmas list right now. So go put it on there and go get it. Let's get an episode out for that for Christmas, Ryan. But, I'm happy that it won something. I'm happy that it was just really cool to see it recognized. Metroid's just been shoved under a blanket for so long, and like to see her up on that big screen and the orchestra when they got to I just kept waiting for them to get to the Metroid part, when they were playing with all the Game of the Award nominees and they got to it, it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, it gave me goosebumps. I'm like, yes, this franchise deserves to be on the biggest stage as one of the most recognizable games and series, because Metroid is that good. I was very happy to see Metroid up there. I will say that. Really excited about that.
Yeah, it was definitely really, really cool to see the representation, even the little bits that we got, and know that it was up against some of the bigger runners. And while, if we want to talk about the subject of the Game of the Year choice, while it didn't make Game of the Year, it would have, like, the fan favorite, they did like a fan poll, and had Halo not been included, just because it came out for multiplayer, but the campaign hadn't come out yet as of, just before the Game Awards. And I think the day before is when they launched the actual campaign. But, that one won out over Metroid, but it was kind of cool to see those two butting heads again. In like this, player fan poll, and Metroid did get the second place there. So they were really close, and it was really cool to see that. It's funny how those two are always destined to be intertwined in the same year.
I know. I don't understand it. Like, Nintendo had all that time to release a Metroid game without the fear of a Halo hype attacking, because all the Metroid Prime games were overlooked because Halo was right there. Halo. Oh my gosh.
It's like it's destined those two will come out in the same year, it seems.
At least it wasn't Metroid Prime. We still got Metroid Prime 4 in the works.
Yeah, it didn't take on that, which I think it'll be much, much longer time before we'll actually see anything Halo, unless it's a DLC or something. So we might get like a Reach type thing, but we'll see. But yeah, it was cool to see that. And then I love that the Game of the Year was an indie title. That was epic. That's huge for indies everywhere. Like, that means, hey, you've got a chance to get here in this and be in this position and take this title of Game of the Year.
It Takes Two.
It's really cool.
It Takes Two is a indie game?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not even know that.
Yeah, and I remember watching...
Wow.
reading up articles on it and really wanting to play the game, knowing it was probably never going to come to Switch. But basically, it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game, where it's 2-player. You work together to basically survive being really tiny, and trying to, basically survive a yard or wherever the setting may be.
Why won't that come to Nintendo? That seems totally like
definitely.
And
there's a lot of people saying like it's eventually going to come, like it's got to, But it was a very, very pretty technical game, and they probably have to do a lot to get it to fit on Switch, unless we get like a Switch 4K, thing. So
yeah,
but hoping.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of fun. You just see my Nintendo fanboyism. Like I'm watching these categories. I'm like, I've never even heard of these games. I'm like, what the heck is this? Why is it even in the Game Awards? I just only know Nintendo and a slight few others, from other companies. But in general, I'm oblivious. I'm sorry. That's who I am. I'm a Nintendo fanboy, and I am not ashamed to admit that. But, well, so overall, it was a disappointment of a show. I thought it was a waste of time. Let's go ahead and let's just get into our categories, Ryan, now. What the people are really here for. They want to hear what we think, our categories and our games, so they can go out and they can go play them themselves. So what's the first category?
Best indie title.
Oh, snap. Best indie title of the year?
Yeah. Lay it on us, Jacob. What's your pick?
This one's pretty simple. Axiom Verge 2 is my indie pick of the year.
I knew it.
That was the first game this year that I got that I couldn't put down. It gave me the feeling of like I don't want to stop playing this. And every day I got home, I was like itching to play it. And every moment I had, every moment of free time, and that's how when I was still in school with this one. So I was like, I would find some time to play it. Oh, I got to go to the restroom. I'm grabbing my Switch. It's things like that. I was playing that game constantly. I still don't understand the lore of the connections between the first Axiom Verge and this one. They're entirely different, but they're supposed to connect, and it really bothers me that I played that whole game and I don't understand the connection. So I really need someone to explain that to me. Maybe I can. It's been out long enough now. Maybe there's some YouTube coverage videos of it, but I loved Axiom Verge 2. I thought it was fun, dude. I thought it was fun and just engaging. How about you?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I own it. I have not played it, so I don't have any input there. I actually purposely did not play it because I wanted to save like the Metroidvania for solely Metroid.
I get that. Whereas I still was like so hungry for some Metroid, so I was excited to play that.
I didn't want to do anything that would spoil my experience for Metroid and be like tired of that formula or something. I just wanted to be the primed for the best,
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. Well, what's your indie game of the year?
My indie game of the year is it's not completed yet. I've not beaten it, but Chris Tales. Really turned it around for me. I played the demo, I played the demo actually like 3 times through. I just get a feel for it and kind of even played like the demo with the extra character. There's a second part other than the demo story part. And I started playing it again and I was like, oh, I did this in the demo. It's not very different. But then I started getting into the story and it started developing and getting more interesting. And then the mechanics started getting more complex. I'm like, okay, so this isn't just as one-dimensional as I thought it was going to be. And the art style is just so pretty. Like the cartoonish look that they decided to go with, it's art. It is an artistic game. Cool. The music is good, and just the mechanics are basically. It reminds me a lot of like original Paper Mario, where it's the time button presses, or like Super Mario RPG.
Nice.
Where you hit the button at just the right time when you're about to hit the enemy, and it does extra damage, it does critical damage, and then when an enemy attacks, if you hit the button just right, you do a block. And you take less damage, and then it depends on when you hit it. You can you can nullify most of the damage, or you can only nullify some of it, depending on how quick you are with the button press. And that's like everything that you do. You can do different button presses to get certain effects, and then on top of that, they throw like time mechanics, where you can like cause status effects, send it into the future, and the status effects have grown even more because it's in the future. That much time has gone by. and it helps defeat enemies and things. And it's just a really cool mechanic. And I'm really enjoying the story. I didn't expect it to hook me. I was skeptical, but I know, credit to Justin Masson from Nintendo Dads. He was saying like it was like one of his like favorite games of the year. And I was like, well, it's got to get better than what little bit I've played, and yeah, I finally got some hooks in me, and I am diving into that, and that's what I've got in my Switch right now. I'm playing, so it was pretty cool.
Chris Tales, it's crazy that they made a video game about Chris. That is your must get game besides Neo: The World Ends With You, because I remember last year I didn't pick one for you but I picked 2 for this year, so you still have to get Chris Tales eventually. Great, thanks for taking my money.
Luckily, it's like $20. So,
well, and you make it sound like it's good. So, I'll have to definitely get to it eventually. But I could have bought that instead of that Digimon game that I played for 2 hours and now sits in my digital library. Which isn't bad. It's priorities, man. I got other games I got to play for that one. I have so many games that I'm like, yeah, this will be fun to go back and play on a rainy day when I don't have any games to play and there's nothing out. But so far, stuff just keeps coming out. I did. Oh, you know what? One thing on the Game Awards, I did watch the Nintendo Switch trailer, and they kind of just gave a tease of games coming for next year. I'm just like, man, you know what? I pretty much want every single game that they just showed. I want Kirby. I want. I don't know if I'll get Arceus, but I've been tempted about it. We'll see how it does. And I don't care about Splatoon 3, but I'm sure everyone else does. And what else? What else do they show? What is coming for 2022? Kirby.
I'm sure you're not thrilled for Bayonetta, but it looked like they included in 2022. They did include the new Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Wild 2. So I think we could probably look forward to that next year.
Was that in that so real?
I thought I heard someone mention that. I need to go back and watch it, but I'm pretty sure that it said, things to play in 2022 was kind of like the idea there. I'll have to go back and look at it and just to make sure. But I felt like they had said something.
I think you're right.
I should have picked up on it because I know that was a big thing, but I was kind of half tuned in at that point because it looked that was my issue with the Game Awards. With Nintendo stuff was like all the ads looked basically the same, just had like showing different games, but like it was the same cookie cutter like formula.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I remember watching it in like the first 3 games. I was like, yeah, I'm getting that. Oh yeah, I'm going to get that, and I'm definitely getting that. So we got some exciting things to come, and I guarantee you. Oh, Mario Rabbids was in it. Yep, that was one of them. I guarantee you, we don't even know half the games coming, man. Nintendo. I have a feeling that next year. I think it's going to be a 2017. I just do. I think it's going to be full of massive hits that we don't even know of yet. Got to get that Metroid Prime HD remake. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm surprised you didn't say DK.
I think that may come in the holidays, honestly, but we'll see. Next category.
All right. Next up is Best Music.
Oh my gosh! You want to go first this time?
Yeah, man. So. I have an album on my iTunes library. I bought it the day it came out because I loved the music in the demo that I played, and I loved every single song on this album. And that is Neo: The World Ends With You. The soundtrack is rockin'. Absolutely, like goes super hard. Like just gets stuck in your head for weeks and days. Like multiple songs. And you just have a huge, like, fun time with it. Whether you were a fan or played the original game, like, there's a couple of tracks here or there that calls back to that, whether there's an English version or a Japanese version. But the new songs just rock just as hard, if not even better. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, like, soundtrack. I was really sad that it didn't even make, like, the album or the music category in Game Awards because it was just... it was so good.
Didn't?
And like people all over my Twitter were just like saying how like it got stuck in their head. And even you, Jacob, you heard Long Reaching Effects where they mentioned you were listening to some like podcaster or influencer of some sort, and they were talking about how good the soundtrack was and how good the album was. And like you hadn't even like really heard much about the game. Like you didn't even know that it was a sequel. You thought it was a prequel. And like, but you heard how good the soundtrack was, and like when you're playing the game, you get so like wrapped up in the music, and it makes you want to keep playing the battle scenes like over and over again. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. The game is full of unique soundtrack songs and stuff, which is not many games do that. Different styles and everything. So, well, I can't say I'm surprised. I am surprised that I didn't see that part, that it wasn't in the Game Awards section. How stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that game is full of music and everyone praises it. What? It just goes to show you things are not properly done for this show. They're not. Sorry, they're not. Halo won a freaking award, and it's not even a complete game. Awful. Best music is, I'm going to give it to the indie game Eastward. Eastward, although I will admit the game as a whole has not been like enticing me. However, I've listened to that soundtrack on Spotify many times, and there are just songs that, like, especially when they come on in the game, I found myself, I'm pretty deep into the game. I'm almost done with it. But there are certain tracks that come on. I just put my controller and I just listen to. I don't even want to play the game because I'm like, I love this song, and the music in that game does a really good job at affecting your emotion. Very similar to Undertale. Very similar to Deltarune. Things in that regard. So I'm giving best music to Eastward by Chucklefish. You guys got to go get that game. It's not. I think a lot of people will like it. I'm just not a big reader. And the gameplay, when I play it, the gameplay is fun. I just wish there was more of it and less talking.
I've not played Eastward, but I've heard lots of good things, and Kyle's been really pushing for me to get it.
Oh yeah, you better get it.
I'm excited to hear the soundtrack and kind of get caught up in that because it sounds pretty cool. I was like, I don't have time with all this. I'm listening to New Worlds with you. I don't have time to pick up any other new soundtracks like that, you know. But I am interested. I like Chucklefish. I was a big fan. I believe they're the ones that did the Pocket Rumble game. It was one of the early ones, like first announced for Switch, like in one of the first trailers for an indie game. And they came out with Pocket Fighter, and it was a lot of fun to play. And I was like, they do really great pixel art, and so this is no exception. I hear that it's just like. It's beautiful, like with the pixel work that they've done with it. And I'm not a big fan of those style of games where it's like, just the pixel work that they do and set in the towns, like that kind of, like, I don't know, like not necessarily Octopath Traveler, but just that feel. Like I'd much rather move about in a 3D with 3D models in a 3D space than I would in a 2D space. But I love the pixel art.
I would too, but I to me it embarks back on like the Super Nintendo days to me, and I like that.
I wasn't a big fan of that where you can walk in all four directions, like on a kind of a top-down view or kind of an angled view. Like I'm not Zelda. A big fan of those styles. So,
like old school Zelda that everyone loves.
Yeah, it didn't translate well for SNES for me for some reason, but and they may grow on me. I haven't played enough of those honestly to basically I'm going off a Lagoon in a lot of ways. So
yeah. Okay, well, what is our next category?
So the next category is Best Family Game.
Whoa. Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll go first. My best family game is a game I haven't even played yet, and it's Mario Party. Super Mario Party, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it just
it?
Mario Party?
Mario Party Superstars?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think
there's Super Mario Party and then there's Mario Party Superstars. It's confusing, but the new one is Superstars.
That's the new one. Yes. I give it that because I don't have to play it. I mean, we have played it. It's nostalgic N64 Mario Party games that were the best redone in HD. And it's something that I do tend to get later. I just hasn't been on the priority list when I don't have anyone to play with it, So I give it to that. From what I've seen, it's reviewed well. A lot of people love it. Josh loves it. He plays it all the time, him and his wife. So I'm giving it to that, to Mario Party Superstars.
OG Mario Party's partying hard. You want to know how I got these scars?
Oh, that was good. Not to mention we got the 64 controllers back now.
Yes, and you can play with that.
Wireless. Yeah.
So awesome.
I hope they need to send us all some gloves for our hands.
I expected those to pop up on my Nintendo. I haven't yet, but I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be awesome if you did that.
Nice throwback.
For sure. And so was that your family pick too?
No. Actually, my family pick is Wario.
Wario. And I actually have Wario, and I played it.
It's a lot of fun with family. It really is.
Together.
It was fun passing off the controller. We didn't even lock the 4-player mode. Like, we just did 2 players and kept passing the controller around as we were playing through the different levels and just having a blast and laughing. We had a gross themed Halloween party, and we did like, you know, Dr. Dreadful, like gummy snacks, and we had like just like Garbage Pail Kids and like different like gross themed like posters all over the wall. And we played Wario because it was really fitting, and everybody just had a blast, you know, playing with this gross themed
It's a fun game.
And
it is.
It was really cool, and the different variety of different play styles that you can play and solve each mini game was pretty cool. So I definitely give that my best, like my favorite family game, because you know we played it with the family and friends, and it was a good hit.
That's cool. And it's hard to argue with that. I mean, I have played it with friends, and it's fun with friends and family. So
yeah.
All right. What's our next one, bud?
Next one is best reveal.
Best reveal. So the best reveal that happened this year. You want to go first?
Oh man, no, you got to go first.
All right. Best reveal. It's Metroid Dread E3. I mean, I lost my crap when I saw it happen, and they're like, but here, take a look at this. And then she just drops down, and you're like, oh my gosh! It was the first time we saw Samus up close in true HD. The first time ever, and she was wearing the fusion suit from my favorite nostalgic old school Metroid 2D game, the fusion suit. Oh, and then it goes just Metroid 5, that classic Metroid 5 across the screen. I loved it. And then it was just high pitched, or it was, sorry, that's the wrong words. It was highly packed full of just intensity and dread, showing off the robots. Everything was happening so fast. It was really cool. I watched that trailer over and over again. I loved it. I think, and then they showed the amiibo, which are sitting right here on my desk, of the Emmy and Samus. I loved it, man. To me, that was my personal favorite reveal this year.
Awesome. I can definitely see that, and that would probably be my pick. But I went with a little bit of a different pick, something that was a little bit more impactful for me, something that means quite a lot to me. So it was something that it was a sequel that was announced in an indie showcase, essentially. And Chris White, who recently passed away due to COVID earlier this year, he made My Musket game when he was a host on the show to be Oxenfree. And so I played it, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it and shared that with him. We had that moment where we just like loved on that game together. And, you know, when they finally announced Oxenfree 2, like, out of the blue is like the one more thing. Like, I reached out to him, and we just like geeked out hard over that. And just, it was so awesome to have that moment with him. And it was so cool to have someone recommend a game that touched me, and then have that bond with somebody, and then hearing the sequel, and it was someone that wasn't my normal like group of friends and stuff, and it was so cool that someone introduced something to me, and then I could share it with them, you know, and we could just enjoy in that moment. And I kind of got choked up when I thought about, like, you know, he's never really going to get to play that game with me.
Yeah.
But just remembering that we got to share that moment before he passed on, it's so like heartbreaking, but also like so heartwarming. And I'm really happy that we got to share that moment, and I got to see, you know, a glimpse of how he gets really excited and how passionate he can be. It was really special.
For sure, man. And yeah, it beats mine out of the water. We miss Chris every day. You know, we were just talking about it before the show, and that's cool that you have a connection with him like that. I think of some of the games, you know, like he had me play that. Oh gosh, I can't even think of the name at the moment, but it was
Limbo
really
or
creepy.
Inside?
Yeah, it was both of them. I think it was Inside was the main one I played, and then I got Limbo afterward. And he got Iconoclast and played that. So, back when he was on our show part time, so that was really cool. But I'm glad you have that memory, man.
Yeah, it's so cool that that it came at such a big time. It was a huge announcement for us, and it's like a lot of people don't know that game, and it's an indie game. But the fact that we're going back to the island and getting to get that weird vibe, it's a very Stranger Things, Twin Peaks vibe to it. Just like freaky, what the heck is going on, and weird radio wave.
I'll have to check it out. I mean, seriously, that sounds cool.
It's about time, Jacob. I think it's time that we get into our game of the year.
Oh, I gotta play a little special sound effect right there.
Do it.
And not edit this out so everyone can laugh at us, I guess. Yeah, game of the year time. This is it, man. This is it. Josh said it was Metroid Dread. Shocker, right? Come on, Josh. That's a fanboy. Ryan, I think you should go first.
Okay. I wrestled with that a lot because I had two favorites this year. And I think after some serious consideration, I realized that, as much as I like Metroid, there was one game that I liked better. And oddly enough, I don't play a lot of games with music on, but this one I did. And I played Metroid with music as well. But I think the one that really won it in my heart for story and for just music and everything was, shocker, Neo: The World Ends With You. That is definitely my game of the year, 100%. Like all the way through. I have played through the game. I've gotten everything. I've maxed out every possible stat, except for drop rate, which is an invisible value anyway. But I've done everything in that game you could possibly can, and I've even started it a couple times over and played through different branching paths, and just I love the game so much, and the music. I come back to it, and I start hearing the music, and I go back to playing the game again, and just playing the battle mechanics. It's just so much fun. And even though I've completed the game, it's something that it just draws me back in, and that wasn't the same experience that I had for Metroid Dread. I played it, I beat it, and I'm like, cool, I'll come back to this later and try to speedrun it over time, but I really didn't feel like I wanted to go back and run from the beginning again, even on hard mode. That wasn't much of a draw for me. And just overall, a much longer game for Neo: The World Ends With You. And an impactful story. It hit me about the same as at the time of the life that I was in when the original World Ends With You hit me. Where I was feeling, I very much resonated with the main character and struggled with making a lot of decisions for myself, and just how that character grew, and I kind of grew with the character, and it felt really good, and it helped me grow in a lot of ways, and that was something that I was really surprised to know that it did better, and in some ways, just surprisingly, it helped me at a time in my life, like the original game did, but in more ways than the original did. And I have a lot owed to it, and it's definitely has an emotional impact for me. And cool. I'm really just happy of all the love and stuff that was put into this game, whether it was not marketed well or whether it didn't win anything in a Game Awards show. It's amazing, and I love it absolutely. I've bought the game. I think it's been 8 times now for different people, and I'm obsessed, and I love it, and it's definitely my game of the year.
That's cool, man, and good for you. I was really happy, and I was shocked when you got that. When they announced that game, I will say, why? It was one of those things why? No one thinks about this game but Ryan. I mean, he's the only person I know who ever thinks about this game, and they brought it back, and that was, good for you. I'm really happy that you got to have that experience, and in a way, it's kind of me with Banjo, but maybe they'll bring back Banjo with a new game in HD and a new story. So, but good for you. I'm not surprised. I am a little surprised, actually. I'm not surprised at what you chose, but man, I tell you what, Sam's going to slap you and shoot with her arm cannon because she used to be like your mom. You just went to her and you loved her. Nothing came between you and Samus. And as time goes, Breath of the Wild takes her the favorite spot of your beloved Super Metroid, and then she gets a new game and she's HDified, and she's still not good enough to be your game of the year. Wow.
When we do our Metroid spoiler cast to talk about the game, I'll go into detail on where it fell short on its notes there, but it's still it was my Nintendo. like first party Nintendo game of the year for sure. Like no doubt. And it was pretty close in the running for that. I did seriously consider putting that in there and bumping it up just because it was Metroid. It's my favorite like Nintendo series.
Yeah.
But something that outshone it, believe it or not.
Well, I guess it leaves to me. My game of the year is Metroid Dread. Whoa, I can't believe you guys didn't know that was coming. I mean, I loved it, dude. From the moment we saw the trailer to when we played it, I was so excited. I just couldn't wait for that game to come. I took the, did I take the day off work? I think I did. Yeah, it was right for my birthday. But I got the deluxe, and I got this awesome art and everything over here on my desk that I don't have room for. But I played it, and I played it nonstop. The world shut down for me while I played it. You helped me. We created a new nostalgic memory with the game, and we can go more in depth with our episode. But you came over for my birthday and spent the day with me, and you helped me first off beat some obstacles that I could not do on my own. I was just getting ticked, and I just needed a coach right there to help coach me through it, which is what you were. And then you watched me beat it, and it's a memory that we built together that I will always remember. When we are talking about the 10-year anniversary of Metroid Dread, I'll bring that up, on this show. So it's I thought it was great. I loved the cutscenes. I liked the story, and I think that there was a lot of cool things with it. It's not a perfect game. There's some things I have issues with, but in general, I thought the game overall was fun. There's a reason it won Best Action Adventure. I thought it was fun. I thought it was great to see Samus in a way we've never seen her before. And they did things that was just really shocking, and they did things that were really cool. And it was great to finally get a close to an arc of a story that has been being told since the late 80s. Mm-hmm. And it's finally come to a close. And now I'm excited to see where they take Samus after this. That was really cool to me. Definitely. Especially I've been waiting for the sequel from Fusion, because Fusion's always been my nostalgic favorite in the past. What happens after that? And they finally did it. I'm really happy about that. Really, really happy about it. So that's my game of the year.
I gotta ask, do you think it's on par with Fusion? Does it meet your nostalgic standards there? Think it will?
I mean, I haven't gone back to replay it yet. I don't know. They try to recapture that Emmy. They try to recapture the SAX feeling with the Emmys. The Emmys are terrifying, but there's a difference between the SAX and them, and I think the SAX was scarier because you get to a point where you can overtake those Emmys one at a time, whereas the SAX, you couldn't beat that thing until the very final part of the game. Like, mm-hmm. There's no way, hands down, that you would even get remotely. Like, the Emmys, you can escape. SAX, if it sees you, you're dead. I mean, there's a very small chance you're getting away. Put it that way. Mm-hmm. Yes, it can be done, but it's very small. So, I loved the connections. It's hard to say that. Don't put me in that situation. I need to sit on it more. Because Metroid Dread was fantastic, but Fusion, I loved that story too. I don't know. I just remember part of the game, the twist.
You've got a little bit. We have a Metroid episode coming up. You can make that decision then if you want to, or maybe leave our fans hanging.
That twist kind of turned it into my favorite game, though. I mean, if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, it literally flipped the game upside down on its head, and it became an entirely different game almost. And
yeah. Definitely raised the stakes, so it's pretty cool.
I've got to give it to be my favorite Metroid. I've got to.
Yeah.
That doesn't make Fusion less. That just means it's my favorite in a new way. And because they did some pretty insane stuff where I had to when my jaw dropped, I'm like, what? Is that really happening? Is this really happening?
We got a lot to talk about with that Metroid episode. But for now,
let's get it out before Christmas so we can convince people who haven't gotten it to get it for Christmas.
Totally. Yeah. That's next week. Let's do it.
Next week or the week after that, though. But okay, man. I mean, that's really it. That's all we got today for you folks. I'm glad to be back here. Ryan, why don't you close us out and tell everybody where we still exist?
Sure. This has been a while. Let's see if I can even remember the show, like tags and everything. It's been way, way, way too long. Gosh. Yeah, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Pandora Podcasts, and YouTube. You can follow the show on Facebook at Nintendo NOS, on our Twitter at Nintendo_NOS. You can find us on our Instagram at Nintendo NOSIN. Shoot us an email, NintendoNostalgiaIN@gmail.com. You can always call in, share us your love and your memories and your nostalgia on the hotline. You can give us a call at 317-969-5690. Guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Later, Preston.
See you guys. Bye.